Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a good day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I wanted to welcome you guys to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. So today I just got some really bad news. The rapper Coolio is actually dead right now, and he just passed at the age of 59. And let's see, according to CNN, and we should call him by his real name. We shouldn't just call him Coolio. Let's see, but they said that. The according to his manager Jarez Posey, he told CNN that he just died and he was found unresponsive on the bathroom floor. They think it was from a heart attack. Now, here's what's really interesting. I'm reading the story on CNN, and they literally just call him Coolio the whole article. They don't even actually give his real name. So let me actually give his real name because I think it's kind of weird that they're just calling him Coolio. I mean, it's CNN. So his name is Artez Leon Ivy Jr. Artez Leon Ivy Jr. He was born August 1st, 1963. He died on September 28th. He's a good rapper. He was very famous, for quite a while. His heyday, his biggest days were in the 1990s when he had songs like "Gangsta's Paradise" and a couple others. And now he's gone, and he died kind of young. I think. I mean, I think 59 is pretty young, and I don't know exactly what the situation was. They're not really releasing exactly how he died. But I just want to say RIP because he was somebody that I don't know about y'all, but I remember he was big when I was in grad school and kind of coming up. And also the thing that I thought about when I heard about his death was I thought about Black men and heart attacks. And not to say we know exactly why it happened or if it occurred or not, but I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it says here, according to a Northwestern University study, that Black men have a 1.6 times greater risk of cardiovascular disease relative to white men. And they said that the study found that clinical factors, socioeconomic factors, and lifestyle behaviors explain the largest components of the higher risk experienced by Black men. Quote, the findings of significantly higher risk in non-Hispanic Black adults compared with non-Hispanic white adults is not surprising. This is well known, said senior author Dr. Sadia Khan, assistant professor of cardiology and epidemiology at Feinberg and Northwestern Medicine. Quote, but it was surprising that the risk for cardiovascular disease was the same once social and clinical factors were considered the same. So if your social and your clinical factors are the same with white folks, then you have the same likelihood of cardiovascular disease. This finding is really important to rebuke, but there is an unexplained or genetic reason that Black individuals have higher risk. And if you recall, I think heart attack is what got Kevin Samuels, who was about 57 years old. So I think that the reason this really does stick out to me is that if you are a Black man or if you know a Black man that you love, you got to take care of your health. I know that a lot of Black men, for example, I know a lot of brothers who don't even check their blood pressure, and high blood pressure is pretty common and pervasive in our community. And I would encourage you to check little things like that, because especially if you're over 40, once you get over 40, for sure, your body starts to change, things start to happen. And you're not going to be Superman forever. And again, I don't know what happened with Coolio. I don't know if Coolio, what he was doing in terms of his health or not. But I do know that that this is a common thing. So let's see. Somebody says he had 10 children. I didn't think he had 10 children. I think I read in Wikipedia that he has 6, but Wikipedia may be wrong. I don't know. How many of y'all even listen to Coolio? Does anybody even remember? Give me a yes in the chat if you even remember some of his songs. Some of his biggest songs were like "Gangsta's Paradise" and stuff like that. Does anybody even is this like me aging myself? But he was I don't, and it's funny because I can't think. He had another song called "Fantastic Voyage," which I think was his first big hit, and then he made "Gangsta's Paradise." And when I look at his life, it wasn't like he got in a lot of trouble. I think there was like a couple little arrests and stuff like that, but it wasn't anything big. And also, he did mention dealing with drugs, and ironically, he became a volunteer firefighter at one point in his life. And he said that was really good for him because it forced him to have to work out and exercise where he was trying to get away from drugs. So he was trying to get away from his previous life. And one thing about what you do when you're young with your body too is that it does kind of stay with you. So I don't know if this plays a part or not, but I know that my own biological father also died of a heart attack in the bathroom, just like Coolio did. And I know also that my biological father kind of dabbled with drugs, had a drug issue, which was I think I think that, who knows, for all I know, that might have been why he wasn't around when I was growing up. And so I would say that, for black men, I think we should take note. We should pay attention. I really think, I would encourage you to just remember your health is your wealth. And I know we talk about making money and being successful and all this other stuff, but you got to take care of your health, because if you go build your wealth and you don't take care of your health, then you're going to lose all your wealth getting your health back. Like, you're going to go to the doctor, they're going to tell you you need some major procedure. And let's say you didn't prepare, let's say you didn't have the right insurance or whatever, or you're not, infinitely wealthy. Well, they'll drain you. Like, I've seen people work their whole entire life and get sick and lose everything. Like, literally, think about this. Like, you work to fill up this gigantic bucket, one shovel at a time, one tiny shovel at a time, and you filled it up over a 30-year period, and then somebody comes along and just kicks the bucket over, just throws it in the garbage. And so what I learned from that experience, from just sort of what I saw, I have concluded that there are three key components to kind of having a good life if you're a black man or a black woman too: health, wealth, and relationships. Health, wealth, and relationships. And as you evolve through your life, you have to factor all those things and see how they connect, how they blend together. And the interesting thing is that most of your wealth is not financial. In fact, your health and your relationships are more valuable than the money in your bank account, because money can be replaced. Your health can't really be replaced sometimes, and or certain relationships can't be replaced. So they have an infinite value. So what I realized is that if you don't take care of that trinity, right? And I'm not saying Coolio didn't do these things. I'm not saying this at all. So let's be clear. I'm not saying Coolio is a person who made these mistakes. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying, just in general, in terms of what comes to mind, is that if you are a person who builds a lot of wealth, because we talk about wealth all the time on this platform, and I'm happy to teach you, everything I know. But if you are building wealth and you don't handle your relationships, then your relationships will drain your wealth. You'll get in bad relationships with the wrong people. I knew a professor who was doing really well, making a lot of money, making a couple $100,000 a year, was investing, had $500,000 in the bank, and was a high flyer in her profession. But she chose the wrong relationship. She married a man who was a complete loser, who used to beat her up and accuse her of cheating and all sorts of stuff. So one day, this husband comes in and kills her. He kills her and kills himself, and leaves her two young children with no parents. So her relationship choice, again, it's not her fault, but these things happen. You have to vet these things. You have to vet who comes into your life. You have to vet all your relationships, because there's nothing worse than trying to build a good relationship with an unhealthy person. It's almost impossible to have a healthy relationship with an unhealthy person. So the biggest way to fix your relationships is to pick the right ones. Work with people that are work withable, right? So because if you don't, then that can ruin everything. I know guys who've been shot and killed because they had the wrong friends. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong dude in the wrong car, and next thing you know, they got killed. Maybe they got killed, sent to prison 20 years because there was dope in the dope in the trunk or whatever. Or girls who've been shot because their boyfriend, they want to date the bad boy, but the bad boy had people that wanted to kill him. So next thing you know, her and her baby get murdered because they're in the car with the dope boy, right? So relationships are critical. You must think about your relationships. On the flip side, on the more optimistic side, healthy relationships are the easiest way I can think of to build wealth. I've seen a lot of people get great opportunities because they were simply good people and they hung with the right people. Like they always say that you can always tell how your economic situation is going to turn out by the people that you roll with. So if you look at your 5 best friends and you average out their income, that'll probably tell you about where you are financially. Okay. So ultimately, picking the right relationships can make things very easy. Picking the wrong relationships can make things very hard. And then if you go over to health, not taking care of your physical or your mental health can ruin everything. So mental health matters when it comes to wealth, because if you, I don't care how much money you have. In fact, when they say more money, more problems, that's really true. So you get more money, you get stressed out. So you're so stressed out that you become unhappy and miserable. That's where you get these millionaires and billionaires that become suicidal. I've seen this. I've seen people where the worst thing that ever happened to them was they got money. They prayed for money, worked for money, begged for money, hoped for money. Finally, they dreamed about money. Finally, their dream came true, and their dream turned into a complete nightmare because they were less happy with money than they were without money. So this is where your mental health is important for Black people. I'm sorry, half y'all crazy. Half of y'all, half of us, half of our people are just nuts. I'm one of them because we go through so much trauma as children that our minds are just messed up. That's why we treat each other the way we do. That's why we beat each other up. That's why we cuss each other out. That's why we don't trust Black businesses. That's why we don't like each other. That's why the Negro naysayers are everywhere, constantly attacking Black men. It's like, well, you're a Black woman. Why are you attacking Black men more than you attacking anybody else? You're a Black man. Why do you hate Black women so much when your mother was a Black woman, right? That's mental. That's a mental health issue. That's undiagnosed trauma. That is untreated trauma. Because we don't want to go to a therapist. When I had one conversation with Tyler Perry, that's what he said to me that I thought was really fascinating. Was he said that Medea allows Black people to get therapy that they won't get otherwise. And I said, I agree with you that Black people won't get therapy, but damn, do we have to put on a dress in order to do that? That was a little weird. But so no, Medea is not therapy. Watching your favorite TV show is not therapy. Self-medication is not therapy. Having lots of sex is not therapy. Drinking yourself to sleep every night is not therapy. Talking to a therapist, that's therapy. That's therapy. Most of y'all need therapy. And you got to admit that and stop thinking that it means that there's something wrong with you. I have two therapists. I got a relationship therapist and a personal therapist because there's a whole lot of shit I got to flush out and work through and process so that I can learn how to be a better person and not die under the weight of my own bullshit. Seriously, I'm telling you, it makes a difference. You will be happier. You will have more coping mechanisms. The number one reason I hired my therapist, plural, is because I was like, I want to understand this thing called life at the highest level that I possibly can. I want to understand how to deal with all the shit that comes my way. In my world, I meet so many people. I have so many situations that are weird and heartbreaking and stressful and challenging, and then that don't even count the stuff that happens at home. If you're raising kids and got a spouse, you know what I'm talking about. It can get complicated, right? And confronting death, watching people you love die, dealing with stuff that happened back in the 80s and the 70s, 80s, and 90s that shouldn't have happened. All of that. And I was like, okay, I want to figure out how to process all this so that I can be a better person, so that I can feel more comfortable confronting whatever the future holds. And it was the best investment that I made. Literally, I would literally fire every single person in my entire life. I hire a lot of people. I pay a lot of people. My therapist would probably be the last person I would let go of before I let go of my wife. I can't fire my wife, but seriously. And I'm saying that out loud because I want you all to just consider it. It doesn't mean that something's wrong with you. It means that there's something right with you. Anybody that you meet, if you date somebody that won't get help, that won't try to do better, that isn't a good person for you because they're not trying to grow. So choosing to make yourself into your best self, that'll help you break down the barriers that might exist. Some of y'all can't build wealth because you don't feel like you're worth it. Some of you can't pick good relationships because somebody told you that you only deserve to have a shitty man in your life. Maybe it happened subconsciously. Maybe your daddy communicated that to you when he abandoned you when you were 4, right? Or whatever it is. But I'm telling you, if you get that help, it just helps you balance things, understand things better. You understand yourself better. And once you understand yourself and you understand how you work and how to get the best out of you, almost nothing can stop you. Almost nothing can stop a person who knows exactly who they are and how to tell themselves to do something and they actually stick with what they said they're going to do. So don't think of therapy as something that's for crazy people or something you do if there's something wrong. Think of therapy as something you do so you can truly be your best self and live your best life. And then also when you talk about physical health, let me just tell you, once you hit 35 especially, your body starts to decline. For men, your testosterone level drops by 1% per year after the age of 35. To compensate for that, you got to do things like lift weights. You have to run. You have to work out. Most people I know who don't exercise after 35, they become big bloated balloons by the time they're 45 or 50. Not making fun of people that are big. I was one of them. I was gaining weight every year just because I was alive. I would think about chocolate cake and feel like I gained weight as if I had eaten it. I don't know if anybody else goes through that, but it's fucking terrible. I'm gonna tell you this. It's hard to tell. And then when I went to try to get a life insurance policy and they told me my blood pressure was out of control, I was like, crap, like where did this come from? Right. So ultimately, the working out, the physical exercise is a very important part of my life. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to live. For all I know, I could be dead tomorrow. And I'm okay with that. I'm not afraid of death. I have my insurance policies in place. My family will be better off. They'd be fine financially, and I've had a good life, right? So I don't know. For all I know, I could be gone next week, and I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I wasn't going to go out without a fight. So I would encourage you, whatever age you get to, work out, take care of yourself. Think about what you're eating. Even if you're not eating all the right stuff, I don't always eat all the right stuff, but so you can forgive yourself for that. But at the same time, we must be conscious of that. So again, when I talk about Coolio and his death, I'm not saying he did any of these things wrong. For all I know, he could have been a vegan who ran marathons and did everything perfectly right. What I'm doing is I'm really thinking about it in terms of all the black men I know who die sooner than they're supposed to die. And one of the things you must understand is black men, and well, people in general, not even just men, women too. Black women are having heart attacks. Black women are under lots of stress and anxiety and everything else. So it's not as if, in fact, actually, obesity is a big problem for a lot of us. And so ultimately, I would encourage you to really sort of fight against that. Like, let me tell you, one thing that made me hip to that was when I started going to races. My wife started getting me, and this is true. If you get a good spouse that loves you, she'll do things to keep you alive and keep you healthy. Running these streets, man, that'll kill you early. You'll die with a smile on your face, so maybe that's okay with you, but you'll be dropping, I didn't want to be in my 50s and dropping dead in the arms of some 29-year-old girl that I was sleeping with that night. I didn't want to go out like that. I wanted to go out with my wife next to me. And so my wife would take me to these races where we would run these half marathons and 5Ks and all that. We ran one in Chicago this weekend, and I don't like it all the time. It's not really my thing, to be honest with you. But let me tell you this, it exposed me to a different culture. Those white folks be out there running. And there's a lot of black people out there too, but it's mostly white people at these races that I see. And it really opened my eyes. Like where I came from, when people got to like their 70s and their 80s, they didn't do nothing. They would just sit around almost like waiting to die. And when I got to these races, though, I would see 70-year-olds out there running, 80-year-olds out there running, people, like they could barely walk, just doing what they can, hobbling across the finish line. And it really inspired me and kind of let me know, like, okay, there's a different way to live. There are many, many ways to live. And I think as black people, sometimes we get a limited exposure to all the different things you can do that can help you really live your best life and your fullest life. So I would encourage anybody. This is the last thing I'll say on this. My wife was supposed to come in and join me, but she's taking all day, so I'm gonna go ahead and just end the conversation early. But basically, what I would say to you is, if you don't feel happy with the life that you have, just know there are people out there that live a life that's different from the life you live, and there's a better life out there for you. But you have to be open to new ideas and new perspectives and new ways of doing things. You cannot be trapped by old habits. A lot of y'all were born in the trap. You're living in the trap. You're in the economic traps. You're in the educational traps. You're stuck in a world where people around you are glorifying complete ignorance. You're being forced to submit to ideas that you know are stupid, that are wrong. And I encourage you, break out of all of that and expose yourself to different ways of living that can help you truly, truly live the life that you want to live. Because life is short, man. It'll be over very, very soon. And I don't care if you're 24 years old up in this podcast right now. I promise you, you're 24 today, you'll be 44 tomorrow. If you're 44 today, you'll be 64 tomorrow. It goes by like that. It goes by like that. It goes by like that. So whatever it is you want to do, go do that shit now. Don't let little stupid things like, I don't have enough money to travel right now. Don't let that stop you. When I look back on my life and I think about the things that I did 20 years ago that really mattered to me, experiences that I had, maybe trips I took or whatever it was, I don't even remember how much money I had. Now at that time, the money was important. I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do it, but I can't because I can't afford it. I don't even remember what was going on with my bank account at that time. I don't remember. How many of y'all even remember what was happening in your bank account in 2011? You don't remember. You might remember like, oh yeah, I was kind of broke, but you don't remember the details of it. You understand? But what you do remember is if you took that trip to China. You do remember if you went over and to see your grandma before she died. You do remember if you spent time with your best friend or if you let your job distract you from spending time with the people you love. And then next thing you know, those people are gone. So live your life now, live it in the moment, because the moment is all that you have. We could all be dead tomorrow. And that's what I learned every time I see somebody die earlier than they should have. So RIP to Coolio. I thought he was a great rapper, great artist, had a good career, wonderful career. And, you know, and it's crazy. The time goes by so fast, but that's just life. That's just life. Okay, guys. So anyway, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Just a reminder, don't forget the All Black National Convention is happening October 28th through the 30th. If you go to boycewatkins.com, I put the passes up there. The link is up there. Or if you're on Instagram, hit the link in the bio. And I will see you all soon. So take care. Have a good day. And I'll talk to you later. Peace.